Ethan tapped his foot impatiently, the rhythmic staccato echoing in the stillness of his study. His eyes were glued to the computer screen, the glow reflecting in his anxious pupils. He was waiting for a reply that held the key to unraveling the cryptic puzzle he'd stumbled upon. It all started with his mother's journals. After her passing, Ethan had discovered her hidden world, a world steeped in ancient rituals, cryptic symbols, and whispers of an otherworldly entity. The journals were a labyrinth of her research, filled with encrypted files and strange diagrams, all pointing to a hidden truth. Desperate for answers, Ethan had reached out to Dr. Sophia Raines, a renowned historian and cryptographer. He'd sent her the files, hoping her expertise could shed light on his mother's enigmatic work. Now he awaited her response, his heart pounding in his chest. Every refresh of his inbox felt like an eternity. The silence of the room was broken by a sharp ping, an email, from Dr. Raines. Ethan's hand trembled as he clicked on the email, his breath catching in his throat. The message was brief, almost alarmingly so. No salutation, no explanation, just a single line of text. Meet me at the old Blackwood Laboratories. Tonight. Blackwood Laboratories. The abandoned research facility on the outskirts of the city. The place shrouded in rumors of strange experiments and unexplained phenomena. The place his mother had been obsessed with. A wave of unease washed over Ethan. Why would Dr. Raines ask him to meet at such a place, especially at night? He reread the email, his mind racing. Was this some kind of test? A way to gauge his commitment to uncovering the truth? Or was it something more? A shiver ran down his spine. He couldn't shake the feeling that he was stepping into something dangerous, something far bigger than he could have ever imagined. He glanced at the time. It was almost nightfall. The email was devoid of any explanation or reassurance, only a sense of urgency that gnawed at his resolve. Despite the fear creeping into his heart, Ethan knew he had to go. He had to know what Dr. Raines had found. He had to know the truth about his mother. Ethan drove through the desolate streets, the only sound the hum of his engine and the incessant drumming of rain against the windshield. The city lights faded into a distant glow as he ventured further into the outskirts, his headlights cutting through the oppressive darkness. The email had stirred a maelstrom of emotions within him, curiosity, anticipation, and a gnawing fear that he couldn't ignore. His mother's journals lay open on the passenger seat, their pages filled with cryptic symbols and arcane diagrams. He'd spent countless nights poring over them, trying to decipher their secrets. Each page was a testament to her brilliance and her descent into a world that chilled him to his core. He remembered her late-night excursions, her hushed phone calls, the strange artifacts she'd hide in her study. He'd dismissed it all back then, attributing it to her eccentric nature. Now he realized the truth was far more unsettling. His mother had been involved in something ancient, something powerful, and something inherently dangerous. As he drove, his grip tightened on the steering wheel. He was venturing into the unknown, guided only by a cryptic email and the legacy of his mother's research. The weight of her secrets pressed down on him, fueling his determination to uncover the truth, no matter the cost. The Blackwood Laboratories loomed before him, a skeletal silhouette against the storm-ridden sky. The once gleaming facade was now a canvas of peeling paint and creeping vines, the windows dark and vacant like the eyes of a predator lying in wait. Ethan parked a distance away, his headlights briefly illuminating the rusted gates and the overgrown driveway leading to the main building. As he stepped out of the car, the wind whipped around him, carrying the chill of the approaching storm and the faint scent of decay. He pulled his coat tighter around himself, his heart pounding against his ribs like a captive bird. He walked towards the building, each step echoing in the silence, his breath forming wispy clouds in the cool night air. The air grew heavy with the weight of unseen history, the silence broken only by the creaking of the building and the distant rumble of thunder. This place was a tomb of forgotten knowledge, a testament to ambition and its often terrible consequences. Ethan could almost feel the presence of his mother here, her spirit intertwined with the shadows and secrets held within the lab's crumbling walls. Section 5. The Old Laboratory. Ethan pushed open the heavy oak door, its rusted hinges groaning in protest. The air inside was stale and cold, thick with the scent of dust and decay. He stepped inside, his eyes struggling to adjust to the gloom. The only light came from the occasional flashes of lightning, momentarily illuminating the cavernous space. The laboratory was a testament to its former glory, now a graveyard of scientific ambition. Tables lay overturned, covered in dust and shattered glass. Shelves lined the walls, their contents hidden beneath layers of grime and cobwebs. Abandoned equipment, once at the forefront of scientific innovation, now lay dormant, their surfaces reflecting the faint glow of the lightning. He navigated through the labyrinthine corridors, his footsteps echoing in the oppressive silence. The air was thick with a palpable sense of unease, as if the very walls themselves whispered secrets they were desperate to keep hidden. Every shadow seemed to writhe, every creak of the floorboards sent shivers down his spine. Section 6. Whispers in the Dark. Ethan continued deeper into the lab, following the faintest of sounds, a soft humming that seemed to emanate from the very walls themselves. He stopped, listening intently, his heart pounding in his chest. The humming grew louder, accompanied by a low, rhythmic chanting that sent shivers down his spine. He rounded a corner and found himself facing a heavy steel door. It was slightly ajar, a faint light spilling out from the crack. He cautiously pushed the door open, his hand trembling. As he peered inside, his blood ran cold. The room was dimly lit by flickering candles, casting grotesque shadows on the walls. In the center of the room stood a stone pedestal, upon which rested a strange, pulsating box. It was crafted from an unknown material, its surface covered in intricate carvings that seemed to writhe and shift before his eyes. The chanting grew louder, and Ethan realized with a start that it was coming from the box itself. Section 7. The Artifact. Ethan cautiously approached the pedestal, mesmerized by the pulsating box. Its rhythmic throbbing seemed to synchronize with his own heartbeat, its strange energy washing over him in waves. He reached out a hand to touch it, drawn to its enigmatic aura. As his fingers brushed against the cold, smooth surface, the carvings on the box sprang to life. They glowed with an eerie, internal light, their intricate patterns shifting and swirling like a living entity. The air crackled with energy and a voice ancient and powerful boomed through the room. "Who dares disturb my slumber?" Ethan stumbled back, fear gripping his heart like a vice. He stared at the box in terror, his mind struggling to comprehend what he was witnessing. It was as if the box itself was alive, its voice resonating with an ancient power that chilled him to the core. Section 8. The Awakening. Ethan's mind raced, his rational thoughts battling against the overwhelming sense of dread that threatened to consume him. This was madness. An artifact speaking, it defied logic, defied everything he thought he knew about the world, yet there it was, pulsating, chanting, its voice echoing with an ancient power that sent shivers down his spine. The voice boomed again, echoing through the chamber, shaking the very foundations of the old laboratory. "Answer me, mortal. Who dares awaken me from my slumber?" Ethan, his voice a mere whisper compared to the booming presence that filled the room, stammered, I am Ethan. I meant no disrespect. Ethan!" The voice lingered on his name, tasting it, savoring it, before continuing, its tone a chilling caress. "You carry the blood of the one who bound me, the blood of the one who sought to control my power." Ethan's blood ran cold. His mother, this entity, this thing, knew his mother. Had she been the one to imprison it within this box? Had her research, her pursuit of knowledge, led her to this ancient, malevolent force? Section 9. The Ritual Chamber. Ethan, fear momentarily forgotten in the face of this startling revelation, took a step closer to the pulsating box. "What do you know of my mother?" he demanded, his voice echoing in the chamber. "What did she do?" A low chuckle, devoid of humor, emanated from the box. "Your mother," it said, its voice a sibilant whisper that sent shivers down Ethan's spine, "was but a pawn, a tool to be used in a grander design. She sought knowledge, sought power, and in her hubris, she stumbled upon something ancient, something forbidden." The room seemed to pulse with the entity's words, the very air growing heavy with unseen menace. The faint scent of decay intensified, the flickering candlelight casting grotesque shadows that danced and writhed on the walls. "She sought to bind me," the voice continued, its tone laced with a chilling amusement, "to control my power. But she was a fool to think she could contain something as ancient, as powerful as I." Ethan's gaze darted around the chamber, taking in the strange symbols etched into the stone floor, the remnants of burnt offerings scattered around the pedestal. This wasn't just a laboratory, this was a ritual chamber, a place where his mother had attempted to bind this entity, this thing, to her will, and she had failed. Section 10. The Pact. Ethan's mind reeled, trying to process the implications of the entity's words. His mother hadn't just been researching ancient rituals, she had been attempting to control something beyond human comprehension, and in her failure, she had unleashed something terrible upon the world. What do you want?" Ethan asked, his voice barely a whisper. The entity let out a low, rumbling laugh that seemed to shake the very foundations of the laboratory. "What I have always desired," it hissed, "power, dominion, and with your bloodline, with the legacy of your mother's transgression, I shall finally be free." "My mother made a mistake," Ethan said, his voice gaining strength. "But I won't let you use me to correct it. You have no choice," the entity boomed, its voice echoing with an ancient power. "The pact has been made, the ritual has begun, and you, Ethan, are the key." Section 11. Confronting the Darkness. Ethan stared at the pulsating box, his heart pounding in his chest. The entity was right. He could feel it, a pull towards the artifact, a connection that transcended logic and reason. His mother's legacy, her mistake, had become his burden to bear. But he refused to be a pawn in this entity's game. He wouldn't let his mother's ambition, her thirst for knowledge, condemn the world to darkness. He had to find a way to stop it, to break the cycle, even if it meant confronting an ancient evil that dwarfed his very existence. He thought of his mother's journals, of the countless hours she had spent deciphering ancient texts, unraveling the secrets of forgotten rituals. There had to be something in her research, some clue, some weapon that could be used against this entity. He wouldn't let fear paralyze him. He wouldn't let his mother's legacy be defined by her failure. He would fight. He would find a way to break the pact, to banish this entity back to the darkness from where it came. He had to. The fate of the world and his own soul depended on it.